Hi! One of my hobbies is collecting old magazines, mostly about cinema and film, especially those that focus on behind-the-scenes content or my favorite actors and actresses. I'm from Poland, so it's easier for me to collect magazines in my own language. That's why my collection is in Polish. 6 months ago, I was reading one of those magazines and found a recipe for stuffed bell peppers. It was in a 1937 issue of AS, pronounced As, a weekly magazine covering a wide range of topics. In the Housewife's Corner section I found many recipes, and the one for stuffed bell peppers seemed the easiest to make. It wasn't very different from modern recipes, so I decided to recreate it. Unfortunately, the recipe was not very detailed, and some words were different from those used in modern Polish. There were no instructions on ingredients quantities or cooking times. I did some research and checked similar modern recipes to check the cooking time, but I guessed some of the amounts of ingredients. I'm not very good at cooking, so everything I do or say might be wrong, or there could be a better way to do it. This is just an experiment to try pre-war food, and please remember that. Step 1. Clean large green bell peppers, cut off their tops, and carefully scoop out the seeds. I forgot they were supposed to be green, so I bought red ones instead. It didn't say how many, so I bought 4. It seems like a proper amount for the saucepan. Step 2. Fill the peppers with a mixture of potatoes, onions fried in butter, raw dill, and egg. I wasn't sure how many potatoes to use, so I went with a bit more than 1 kilogram. I boiled the potatoes first. The recipe didn't specify whether to cook the egg, so I just added it raw to the mixture. I used 3 onions, but if I were to recreate this recipe in the future, I would either use more onions or fewer potatoes, because the filling I made was enough for 7 or 8 peppers. The recipe didn't mention any spices, so I added some salt and Maggi, which I believe could be available at the time. Unfortunately, my camera ran out of battery, so I didn't record the part when I mixed the potatoes with the other ingredients. Step 3. Place the stuffed peppers tightly in a saucepan with melted butter, add a few spoons of broth, and simmer under a lid until it's soft. I made chicken broth from a stock cube. I chose chicken broth because I thought it would be more authentic, but of course homemade broth would be better. I don't like chicken broth personally, so later I also used vegetable broth, also from a stock cube, but later you will see why. The recipe didn't specify how much butter to use, and since butter is expensive, I used only a quarter of it. It also said to add just a few spoons of broth, so I followed that instruction, though I personally think the peppers should be fully covered with it. There were no instructions on how long to simmer them, but I found in the internet that 30 minutes is the usual time to do that. The last step. When serving, season with a white roux made from butter and flour and serve with this sauce. I made the roux, but unfortunately I let it brown instead of keeping it white, because I forgot it has to be white and I've never made it or eat it before. Also, I wasn't sure whether this sauce referred to the roux or the broth, so I served it with both, especially since I didn't want to waste anything. Unfortunately, the peppers cracked and turned into a bit of a mess. It was really hard to serve. One possible reason is that I left them under the lid for too long, and since I still had some filling left, I made it again the next day. This time using vegetable broth and fully covering the peppers. The result was much better, nothing broke. And was it good? Yes, I think it was quite tasty and surprisingly modern for a 1937 recipe, and if I were to make it again, I would obviously use green bell peppers and less potatoes for the filling. And I also think the vegetable broth made it taste a bit better than the chicken broth. Maybe in the future I'll try another old recipes, but again, I'm not an expert. I made it just for my own fun and out of curiosity. I hope you liked it, and thanks for watching.